Good morning, good Moyed, and today is Thursday, the 19th day of Nisan. It is the fourth day of the Omer. We continue today in the chapter 41 in the Tanya. The Alter Rebbe explained the importance of the Yiras Hashem, the fear of God. It's not enough when you serve Hashem with love, you need to have the fear. Because in the end of the day, when you serve Hashem with love, in a way, you're doing things for yourself. It is good for you. The fear of Hashem brings upon yourself the kedusha, the holiness. As we learned yesterday, that I brought from the Zohar, that it says, just like an ox, that in order to do good, to bring out the good from the ox, to do good for the world, they put a yoke up on the neck of the ox. And the same way, says the Zohar, that a person needs to take upon himself the yoke to do the things because this is the right thing, because this is what Hashem wants. Kabbalas oil malchus shamayim, accepting upon themselves the yoke of Hashem in the beginning. And the Zohar says very, very sharp words in a way. It says, if this is not found by the person, then there is no holiness within him. We can understand it in a way because holiness is something which comes from above. So we know that in general, we learned in earlier chapters in the Tanya that the love of Hashem is the root of the positive mitzvahs, and the fear of Hashem is the root of the negative mitzvahs. You love someone, you do what he wants. When you're afraid of someone, you don't do what he doesn't want. But here the Alter Rebbe says that even the mitzvahs, the positive mitzvahs, they're not real mitzvahs unless they also include the fear. If you do it only out of love, you're missing this element of connecting with Hashem, and also, as I mentioned yesterday, you're missing the concept of avodah. It says, "Va'avadetem es Hashem Elokeichem." You should serve Hashem like a servant. And being like a servant, meaning that it means that you nullify yourself to Hashem. So you do the things what Hashem wants. And this is the two ways of serving Hashem, as a son and as a servant. A son represents the concept of love, and a servant represents the concept of fear and awe of Hashem. So the Alter Rebbe now continues in today's lesson, and it says that after explaining the different levels of fear, there are some people, one level of fear is that when you are able to really arouse within yourself fear of Hashem and feeling, like the story once, the Frierdiker Rebbe told the story about a soldier that after going through the army and seeing the Tsar, he described all of the superiors that he was seeing, and he describes in details each and every one, his commander and the one on top of him, all the way, and he describes until it gets to the point of describing when he saw the Tsar, and as he describes it, he faints. That means that he had the deep fear of the Tsar, that even only by thinking about it, it affected him in such a way. So we're talking this is to use an example of a person who can understand by meditating the greatness of Hashem and getting to the point to feel that awe and fear of Hashem. That's obviously that is the higher level. But some people, then you have another person that is not capable of arousing within himself this fear and really to feel it in his heart. But at least you can think about it. He understands it, even though it doesn't cause him to really fear, to really have a feeling of fear in his heart, but he understands it. And based on this understanding, the greatness of Hashem, he acts the way Hashem wants. So that also, said the Alter Rebbe, that this is also considered serving Hashem, a full service, a complete service of serving Hashem. And today the Alter Rebbe continues to go to describe even a person that is even less than that even in his mind is not capable of reaching an understanding of the greatness of Hashem. So here the Alter Rebbe says, after all, the Torah was given to everyone, and some people are not capable of reaching that level. So the Alter Rebbe is going to explain. אף מי שגם במוחי ומחשבתוי אינו מרגיש שום יראה ובושה, even a person that even in an individual that it cannot in his mind and thought feel any fear, shame. Why can't he do this? This is because his soul comes from a lower level. It is a limited grade of his soul, that it originates from the lower levels of the 10 spheres of Asiyah, the 10 attributes of the world of Asiyah. The world of Asiyah is the world of action. That means that there are certain people, certain souls, that their mission in this world is mainly focusing on action. And they're not capable of reaching a deeper understanding in fear and awe and shame of Hashem. Nevertheless, says the Alter Rebbe, nevertheless, since he is intent in his service to serve the king, when he does the mitzvah, he wants to serve Hashem. So this, says the Alter Rebbe, is a complete service. Why? He says, because the fear of Hashem and serving of Hashem really are two separate mitzvahs in the count of 613 mitzvahs. And they do not exclude each other. You can have one without the other in a way. So even though he does not have the actual feeling of fear, but being that he does the mitzvah, because he wants to serve Hashem, he intends to serve Hashem, that is why he's considered that he's serving Hashem. But the Alter Rebbe adds that the truth of the matter is that in a little bit of fear he also has. Even that person that is not capable of arousing the fear, nevertheless, he does have a little bit of the fear. How so? Says the Alter Rebbe, V'oi shebe'emes mekayem gam mitzvahs yira, v'ma shemamshich ha'yira b'machshavtoi. Says furthermore, as a matter of fact, he also fulfills the commandment of fearing God by introducing the fear into his thought. Only by thinking about it. He's not capable of understanding the fear, the greatness of Hashem. But nevertheless, he's thinking about the king, and because of that, is avoiding to do something that Hashem doesn't want. Ki b'shov v'rega zu al kalponim, meira shamayim olav al kalponim, kemeira basav adam hedyet lefachas. Says for this at this hour, at this moment, at any rate, there rests upon him the fear of heaven, at least like one fears in the presence of ordinary mortal, of ordinary human being. She'enei melech, a person that is not a king, a mabitolov that he looks, watches him. She'nimna ba'avuroi melasis davar she'enei ogem be'einav, that he would refrain from doing something which is not proper in front of him. See, in other words, even a person who is on a very low level cannot understand. You can think about people are not doing, avoiding, when somebody sees you, you're not going to do something stupid, something not nice, or somebody's watching. In today's age, you have cameras all over. And if you see the camera, you're going to act a little different. You're going to behave a little different. You know somebody's watching. So when someone is watching, so you have, in a sense, a little bit of shame. So that also is considered enough, a level of yira, of fear of Hashem. It is considered you serving Hashem with fear, even if it's the lowest level of doing it, because just like somebody else is watching, Hashem is watching. And the Alter Rebbe brings proof that this can be considered as fear. He brings it from the story of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. The story of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, before he passed away, he said to his students the wishes that Hashem, that they should have fear of heaven just like they fear a human being. And they said, really? That's all that is required? And he said, yes. And when a person does a sin, he makes sure that nobody else sees him. And that is considered fear. So let's see, inside says the Alter Rebbe, Shazu Nikris Yira, this is termed Yira, this is considered the proper fear. As Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said to his disciples, may it be God's will that the fear of heaven be upon you like the fear of a human being. Teidu, and when they asked them no more than this, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai told them, Teidu, you should know, when a person commits a sin, he says to himself, may no one see me. So that is considered, in a way, considered fear of Hashem. However, it's not the higher level of fear. It says, this fear that we mentioned here, not only this lowest level that we mentioned now, but all of the levels of fear that we mentioned in this chapter, this fear is called the Yirot HaTorah, the lower level of fear. The Yiras Chet, it is considered this fear of sin. Shekoidemes lechachmasai. This kind of fear comes before it precedes the wisdom. In the Pirkei Avos it says, Imein chachma ein yira, imein yira ein chachma. If there is no wisdom, there is no fear. If there is no fear, there is no wisdom. And the question is, which comes first? And the Alter Rebbe explained, it says in Chassidus, that there is the lower fear of sin, having awe of Hashem, and that leads to Chachma, leads to the Torah study. And when you get to the level of the Torah study, then you reach to the higher level of fear, the Yiras Boishes. The Yira Boishes, while the higher fear is shameful fear, meaning the state of being abashed and overawed in the God's presence. The Isyira, the Isyira. Because there are two kinds of fear. There's one kind of lower level of fear, and there's a higher level of fear. Avol beli yira kelal. Loi parcha le'ela be'ava levada. So if you have at least a little bit of fear, even the lowest level that we mentioned now, that really is considered doing mitzvahs with fear, with love and fear, and that makes the mitzvah to fly up, as we learned in the previous lessons. But if there is no fear at all, loi parcha le'ela be'ahava levada, it cannot fly up high. It cannot soar on high if it's done only with love alone. Just like a bird cannot fly with one wing. Because fear and love are two wings, as stated in Tikkun Zoya. And the same thing is the other way around is also true. Fear alone is also only one bird, one wing. And one cannot fly with fear alone. You do need to have love also. Even though it's termed as the service of a servant, that is serving Hashem motivated by fear, that is also not enough. There must be also the service of the characteristic of a son, meaning serving Hashem motivated by love. And that is that means to awaken at least the natural love to God that is hidden in our heart. That this love that we have hidden in the heart should become revealed at least in a conscious, in his mind. And that is to recall the love of the one God, in his thoughts and in his will, to be connected to Hashem. And this should be his intent when occupying himself with Torah, and in particular in the particular commandments. You should have an intent in his mind that the fear of Hashem and the love of Hashem. That his divine soul, as well as his vivifying soul, together with their garments. There's the divine soul, there's the vivifying soul, and the garments, the thoughts, the speech, and action. All of them shall cleave to him. Has been explained above that all of the Torah mitzvahs, when you do it, connecting to Hashem with every aspect of yourself, this is what takes the mitzvah and brings it up to the higher levels. And this is the end of today's shir. Thank you so much for joining. And please make sure to share this and subscribe, click notification, and wishing you a good Tamayad. We'll see you, God willing, tomorrow, 9 a.m. All the best.